I'm taking the 2025 Ram 1500 RHO, has to go to the dealer this afternoon. You read all the crap online, people having problems with these RHOs, catalyst issues, misfire issues, some people are having wiring issues, just different things. We made a 1,400 mile trip home, no problem at all. Truck was great. Other than liking fuel, the truck is amazing. I love the truck, but we do need to take it in. Partially, I blame myself for this because I was so excited to get this truck. It is what it is. I just didn't catch something silly, and I think this is gonna be silly, but I told you guys when I did this video starting, I'm gonna give you honest feedback. If there's an issue, a problem, you're gonna know about it. This is probably something simple, but I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna show you what's going on, see if anybody else is having this problem. We can try to work through this. Let's do this. So is the engine blown up? Is it my mistake? Did I run 87 octane and I've just destroyed this thing and I towed a 12,000 pound fifth wheel and just hurt this thing? It's none of that, guys. It's probably something simple. So let me show you what's going on. When we got the truck, I was just excited to get on the road. We had a long journey ahead of us. I didn't notice anything. Mark Dodge was great about PDIing everything, getting everything set for us. Everything was all good. We get all the way home and I'm pulling the truck into the garage. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should turn my sensors on just to make sure they work and, you know, back it into a tight garage. I turn these buttons on and here's what happened. Put it in reverse. It says rear parking brake assist unavailable and it says service. So I'm like, what the heck is that? So I turn this off and put it back in drive. You still don't have rear parking assist. And when you back up, I just don't have parking sensors. I think it's probably something really simple. I'm not worried about it, but I am gonna document this thing and get this thing in. And luckily I'm a local dealer, even though I didn't order the RHO through these guys, I have bought vehicles from them in the past and they're cool guys. They've been really great. They've got great technicians. They said, get it in and we'll get you a loaner. So probably not a big deal, but I'll get it in and we'll address it and make sure there's nothing else there. Otherwise, guys, this thing's been great. I've not had one issue. It's been a great vehicle. I'm very happy with it. All right, guys, so I just got back to Pinckney Ram today. We're going to jump in to see what's going on with our RHO. This is another example of a great dealer. Sorry, I got the sun on my face right now. I didn't buy this truck from these guys. I have bought Rams from them in the past, but they're just wanting to help me right now. Even though I didn't buy the truck from them, they totally get it. They respect that. But these guys got their best tech on this thing right now, trying to figure out what is going on with this RHO. So let's go look at it. I want to introduce my man here. I actually didn't grab your name earlier. Mike. All right, guys, we got Mike here. He's helping us work on the Ram RHO. We're trying to right now do a diagnostic of,
park sensor 8.
We got a short or open park sensor 8. So
there's your module.
And that's down there. Okay.
The central vision park assist.
Central vision park assist. Okay. All right. So the whole thing of what's going on is is partially my fault. We get home. I noticed both of the front parking sensor and rear parking sensor is off on the dash. I didn't think anything of it. No lights on the dash, no problem.
It never said service?
So actually it's funny you say that. So I'm pulling it in the garage where now it's tight, big body, trying to get this thing. I'm like, I should probably turn on the rear sensor. And when I do, the service light comes on the little display on the dash. And I'm thinking, no big deal. I've had sensor issues on my Raptors, my 2020 Ram. I had issues, more of the parking sensors, especially up front. I've noticed in the wintertime, they get kind of goofy.
Yeah, how it works is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6.
Yep.
This doesn't have a 7, but it calls for a 7. 7 would be right here.
Okay.
Doesn't have it.
Yep. It just got the one there.
8.
And then you got, I see one here.
So
okay.
Short at 8.
You got a short at this corner.
The other ones can see anything.
So because of this short, the rest kind of just
the whole thing.
Down. Okay. And so the thought is you've already diagnosed good here. It's possibly like up in there is kind of what you're thinking.
It's in the cab.
Okay.
Now the wiring goes under your.
I could call those guys down at Mark Dodge and see if by chance, I don't know if there's anything I can do to help, you know, as far as asking them or
can call for sure. That would
okay
help, because you never know.
Yep.
Sometimes you get that.
Yep.
Yeah, because the sensor's covered.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
By this.
That sensor is covered up in the rear.
Yep. Maybe unplugged, but it wasn't.
But so all the continuity basically looks good from there. Now you're just trying to see if you got connection up in there.
Yeah, I can. Compared to the TRX that's on the Ram rack, it's not as heavy.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
These are heavier. Yeah.
The TRX I think is a few hundred pounds heavier. But you know another thing that's funny about this, you've probably driven a bunch of TRXs also, but this thing, I'll have to let you take it for a spin. It drives a lot different than a TRX. It feels a lot lighter. It feels more sporty. You don't get that wallow feeling like going around the corners, body roll, brake dive.
Well, I prepped the TRX and then I prepped one of these non-TRX.
Okay.
I was telling Sean, I said, that 3-liter will keep up with the TRX.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this thing rips. So,
this is obviously faster, it's tuned.
there's two companies working on tunes on these already, and there's a company called JB4. They've already got a tune, which is like a piggyback tune, and they're putting down more power at the wheels than a stock TRX. And given the fact that it's lighter and has more aggressive gearing, I think this thing's gonna rip. Okay, so that is one of the sensors you checked?
This is the connector that goes to the park sensor back here.
Okay.
And up here goes to the body connector.
Body connector, okay.
In the DID, you see that broken wire?
But that's not, is this mine? Or
No,
is this it's just giving you, I see it pulls out of the harness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not the case. That's the X700 circuit. And
Yep.
you're good on 700 from here to here and 722 from here to here.
Okay.
So now I gotta check pretty much here to here.
Okay.
For the perspective, here's the picture you were looking at. That DID, this connector.
Okay, that's the connector right there.
From here over to there on both
Okay.
circuits. On this side, then I just put all my wiring. Obviously, I have jumper wires.
Yep.
Then it goes up into here, into your cab.
That's your junction for the cab. Okay.
Yep.
And everything was good and communicating solid there.
Solid there. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and it just simply.
Just disconnects and it feeds the cab. Okay.
So now I have to go from this point
Over to the A pillar over there. Okay.
yeah, to the floor.
Yep. Very cool.
I was hoping it was just a module, but I don't.
It's never simple, is it?
When you disconnect the battery, it's like a defibrillator. Someone having a heart attack. Resets the module.
Sure.
Still 8.
So is this the first RHO you've gotten your hands
I
on?
didn't know they made them.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, you got a TRX right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that bad boy. Huh. There's not, I mean, you know, it's funny physically.
He barely fits in the alignment.
Yep. You know, it's physically, they're really not any different. The only thing, I don't know if you've noticed, is the headlights. The fascia is a little different. The grille's different, the headlights are different, front bumper's a little bit different, but otherwise it's identical.
Look at the front.
Thanks, man. While this thing's up on the lift, we're gonna check out the undercarriage real quick and just kind of compare this to the TRX, Raptor, and some other trucks. You can kind of see what these things look like underneath. It's kind of cool seeing the suspension full droop. So have you noticed any other differences, just obviously other than the Hurricane under the hood versus your experience with the TRXs?
I mean, I was more focused on your parts.
Sure. Yep. I'll crawl underneath this thing. I'm pretty sure, yeah, obviously you got the Bilstein dampeners. I've been told, actually, the springs and the valving is different in these for the different motor weight. So it's like, I think softened up a little bit, is my understanding.
Yeah, because it's computer controlled.
Yep.
For launch.
Obviously you can see your guys' your CV shafts. You got your knuckles, the casted aluminum upper and lower, so that's pretty nice. Trying to see your skid plates all the way from the front back. So you got your glide plate here. This goes under your front differential. Check that out, guys. You can see this is a ZF. See if we can get a part number of the front differential. Thing I like about this is there is your, looks like your fill plug right there. And here, where's your drain at? I assume the drain is somewhere right in here, maybe right there, because I see this hole. It's probably where the oil comes through. Here's your rack. Kind of see you can get in your steering rack. Got your oil filter, pretty easy spot right here. I like that they're running a steel oil pan. Got a really solid skid plate underneath this thing as well. So some good, nice clearance as well as here. Here's another thing I like. Check out this glide plate right here, the skid plate. It protects the lower control arm. So you get, like, if you're in the dunes, rocks, you get a good clearance going through here. That's good. Let's see what else we can kind of show. Good look at your tie rods. Here's some different sensors with the ride height sensors. I like that they do the plastic, not the felt inner wheel wells, because they clean up a lot easier from mud and dirt and things of that nature. All right, let's just kind of keep going back. Now I want to kind of show you guys. You got your front sway bar, obviously, coming in through here. And then here are your downpipes off your turbo. So you got your front cat here, all heat shielded up. You got your other kind of tucked in here pretty nice. You got your front drive shaft coming off your differential. And then you've got these, it looks like some sort of special decoupling right here. I assume this is some sort of expansion bellow in the exhaust system, just to kind of allow a little expansion and contraction. But if you notice, they're kind of creating a little bit of slope right here to create a little extra length, to get as much of equal length. And so you can see this bank kind of comes across here, and then this one goes back, and you kind of, what they're trying to do is create as much of an equal length in the exhaust system as possible. Now we go from here, kind of see the transmission connected, and I'm wondering what this is. These little blue things right here. Wonder if this is some sort of like heat protector from the exhaust system. That's interesting. But check out this bracket, guys, if you don't think that this thing still got some beef from the TRX. So you got your mount from the transmission bracket for the TRX. Got your transfer case. I'm gonna see if we can get some model numbers on that. I'm not seeing that. Let's see. But some things I'm noticing right off the bat I like to see. Number one, this drive shaft is painted. They're not just using cast material. Like the heat shields on here looks good. I'm assuming they're running like a 439 or higher grade stainless steel, because we've got about 1,400 miles on the exhaust, and I'm not seeing a lot of discoloration on there. That looks good. And you kind of see the bends coming through here. Pretty good sized pipe. I bet you this is every bit a 3-inch diameter. Got a ball flange here, kind of feeds back through. Aluminum drive shaft. Let's stick on these skid plates here. Look at the beef on this, guys. I like too that it's got this smooth glide plate. You can definitely tell when they designed these skid plates, they tried to make it where there's nothing that kind of catches an edge. So you got the smooth transition here, all the way back. It keeps going smooth. And then this drops again, it's smooth here, goes off to the side. So this is for your transfer case. And then this actually tucks up for the fuel tank, which this fuel tank brace is a freaking beast. So they got this special brace that connects on the side of the frame here, that then comes over here, and this is a really heavy duty skid plate. You can tell for the gas tank. You got 3 connection points there and then 1 there. And if we look at the drive shaft, obviously it's aluminum drive shaft. Got the E-coated frame. And now we go into the muffler. So you got a dual in and a dual out. Pretty fancy looking round muffler. And what's interesting is that is the only muffler this thing has. The thing is, there's really not a lot of volume in the muffler. Here's another thing, guys, I was not aware of. There are valves in this exhaust system. Now these are, from my experience in the exhaust world, this is what's called a passive valve, or what Ram calls adaptive valve. This does not have electronic controls to control this valve system. So it basically moves on spring tension, on pressure on the engine, it will open up. So my guess is they're kind of trying to keep this thing more quiet and like an idle. Here's another thing that transferred over from the TRX for wheel hop. They put that Bilstein dampener from the frame down to the cross member on the rear differential. But I like to got the big aluminum drive shaft. Now, end of the suspension, so this is nothing new. This is like the TRX. You got your 5-link, got your upper, lower control arms, got your ride height sensors here, got the Bilstein dampeners. I like that you got really good protection for the shocks here, both facing forward. Kind of see that. Looks like easy serviceability to get those things in and out. You got your ride height sensor on that side. That all looks pretty good. Let's go into the rear here. So you got your drag link that comes across the side. This is a spot where I think Ram really puts a super beefy rear axle. I got to look up and see which rear axle this is, but I believe this is the one that's shared out of the Ram 2500. Need to confirm, but you can see all the extra bracing around the rear differential. You can, if you want extra stability or less body roll, there are kits out there by Hellwig where you can put a sway bar along in the rear. I personally don't want it just because I'm not looking for that, and I want all the max articulation in the rear. Got your coil springs with your bump stops up there. See your drag link that goes across. Got your parking brake here, which ties into, I think this is an electronic rear parking brake. So you can see if you have to service the brakes, you have to do the service mode on your brakes to retract the rear caliper. But all the coating underneath the rear axle looks good. I'm not seeing like rusted up rear axles, exhaust system, all the wells look good. Kind of see the rear exhaust where this comes all the way to your tailpipe tip. Another thing, guys, I want to kind of show you. So if you look here and here, these are called resonant frequency pipe patches. And basically what it is, it's a special screen that was designed by a company I used to work with called Faurecia. It's a French company that made the exhaust on this vehicle for Stellantis from the factory. And this screen basically catches certain frequencies, and by having those frequencies removed, you can actually change your tuning of your muffler to give a different sound in the exhaust. Ram's been doing this for quite a while now. The whole theory on this is it actually saves weight because you can focus on specific frequencies and use a smaller muffler, thus less weight, better fuel economy. In this case, fuel economy is not much of a concern, but they are using that to hit a certain peak frequency. But you can kind of see your dampeners for your exhaust system, the black tips welded on. Here's a good look at your toe, your rear hitch. Kind of see the full-size spare with the heat shield that goes along it. Trying to get a 37 up in there. Man, it's tight. You got maybe a quarter, half inch this way. Maybe another half inch this way. You might be able to get a little bit bigger tire in here. Not much. I'm just trying to look, not much. But then you can see the other side of the exhaust here as well. Let's see if there's any markings on this hitch as far as any weight ratings. So this is it. Figured while we got this thing up on the lift to figure out this sensor issue, walk you guys through what the undercarriage looks like on the Ram RHO. So I'm not too worried about the parking brake sensor issue. I've had this issue on other vehicles. This is just a bad week for me because our Bronco has been trouble-free, and unfortunately the Bronco Raptor, the entire dash lit up the other day in a snowstorm. We just had to have that thing in. ABS module had to be reprogrammed. Hopefully the issue's fixed, but was really frustrating because you're in the middle of a snowstorm and the dash just lights up. ABS doesn't work, drive modes doesn't work, hill descent control doesn't work, stability track doesn't work. And worst of all, in a snowstorm, in a Bronco Raptor that doesn't work, four-wheel drive doesn't work, 4Auto doesn't work. I can't even get the stupid thing in four-wheel drive, so that was really frustrating. So this is a fun week for me, both the vehicles in the shop. But I'm not really too worried about this. I think it's more fun just to use this opportunity to get up on the lift and check this thing out. Keep you guys posted to see if we are able to fix this issue and see if this is all good. It's not uncommon to having parking brake sensor issues, not just with Ram, but any of these vehicles, especially in the wintertime. Hopefully this is something real simple, but I will be keeping you guys updated once we get this thing fixed. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a slow roll from front to rear and rear to front, just showing you what the undercarriage of the 2025 Ram RHO looks like. Overall, I didn't see anything that caught me off guard. What I was really happy to see is the E-coating on everything. The axles, everything looked good. Being that we live in the Midwest, things I'm looking for is rust and corrosion protection. And so far, I feel like Ram's doing a great job on this. Axles look covered really good. Drive shafts look covered good. Frame looks to have a good E-coating. I'm happy also to see the grade of stainless steel because there are others out there using lower grade stuff than this. So that's great to see. All right, so what's my takeaway? Well, these guys are probably gonna have it the rest of the day, maybe a few more days. We'll figure out if this is a wire discontinuity issue or what specifically is going on with this. I'm not too worried. It looks like this is something simple and they see this. So we'll get this thing squared away. I'm not too worried about it. They gave me a loaner, so I'm good there. More so than anything, I told you guys with this channel, it's about honesty and transparency. I want to show you guys along the journey of what's going on with this truck. Pretty impressed getting underneath the undercarriage. I like seeing the undercoating. They did a great job. I'm not seeing rusted up components. I like seeing how they ran the exhaust. Everything looks really quality underneath this thing. So, hey guys, if you enjoy the videos, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.